didn't think he was talking to the fan.
I don't care.
I don't care. I hate it. I don't care.
Luka gets tossed last night, picks up his second technical with the Lakers ahead at the time. They were ahead by a point. JT Orr tosses him for yelling at a fan. He thinks it's directed at him, and I believe that was not the right thing to do. It was a mistake. But I think the largest mistake that Orr made was after conferring with the other officials, where those two guys didn't say, listen, JT, he wasn't talking to you, and saying, we're gonna run it back. He stays in the game. But Luka Dončić is not without ownership in at least pushing him and many, many other referees to the precipice of teeing him up unnecessarily because of the incessant whining. And I think that is getting skipped over way too frequently.
We're not.
Too frequently.
So one of the things
Radio's
that
Clinton Yates.
Is it
Hello,
radio
how
today?
are you? It's radios now.
All right.
If Morales isn't here, I'm not a star, which thank God. Anyway, so I was talking with Emily before the show about soccer, Champions League, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because in refereeing on footy, dude, accumulation and dissent are a thing. Where it's like after a while, if a referee just says, I've had enough of you, you can go. Because it's just a look at it, and even if not even if not overall in terms of reputation, he already had a tech. That's my number one
on a play
issue.
that he was not involved in.
That's what I'm saying here. And if you look at this more largely, and Johnny I can yell all day about how he would have said the same thing if it were Shea on the other side. I don't buy that. Because he's not the same guy. And it's just not the same circumstance. And
he
if you
wouldn't have gotten tossed.
He wouldn't, right? Exactly. Because he wouldn't have done this. And so at some point.
And he hasn't been doing this for years.
You've got to be realistic about what's going on. Even Shaq blamed Luka, and Shaq was famously about talking trash and thought refs should be out of games. And I'm not saying it's also highly hilarious that Lakers fans are out here talking about, they're out to get us. Last week it was, the Lakers get whatever they want because Luka walks in town for free, and now all of a sudden it's everybody's out to get the Lakers. Like that doesn't even make sense.
Luka, just be quiet.
My point is that and it's like if it fires you up and that's how you have to play, that's kind of an issue in itself.
Yeah.
That's why half the reason why the Mavs probably didn't want you. They were tired of this crap.
So they're bringing up Draymond. They're saying Draymond complains, doesn't get run. It's more Draymond complains when he gets called for fouls.
Draymond got run in the NBA Finals, and it cost him the game and arguably the
Luka
series.
complains when he doesn't get called.
Well, that's
this
what I'm
is true.
saying.
Well, that could have been an accident. I'm just saying, well placed.
But you know what's funny about that? And I know you're kidding, but it's the same thing. Draymond Green had forfeited the benefit of the doubt.
You've lost all benefit of the doubt,
much like Luka Dončić has forfeited the benefit of the doubt. So when it does go, he clearly was talking to the fan. He clearly was talking to the fan. But the point being, you've pushed me to the 1-inch line. When I react poorly to that, it's not just my fault. It's our collective mismanagement of the situation.
I would also go so far as to say, if talking to fans is that important to you, what are you doing? There's an element of that on a deeper level where I'm like, okay, buddy, like that's not Spike Lee.
Is that what you need?
That's some random guy in
Mr.
Oklahoma.
Tattoo or Tattoo Dude or whatever his name was.
Tattoo
That guy gets his attention dollars, and you get kicked out of the game. Who's the dummy here?
Right.
It ain't him.
You are. You get paid. This is why you make so much money. Is you get paid to block that stuff out, and professionals should be able to block that stuff out. You're just a chair. You paid to see me play. But I would say this: you don't get just to say anything to me without reprisal.
No.
I will come back at you.
No, I think we all kind of understand where that is. You can't do that.
No.
I think, and
LeBron himself has showed that example where he's pointed people out and said, get him out of here.
By all accounts, that's not what this fan was. This was about leaving a shot short.
But win the game first and then call the guy out.
Yeah.
Win the game first, then call the officials out.
If I'm JJ, I'm hot.
Oh, you should be.
Okay,
Yes.
so I got one for you guys.
Okay.
Could this have double meaning? I want to read you guys a quote from J.J. Redick. Could this potentially be...
Can I answer first?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the quote. It was a great game that unfortunately didn't get to finish out the way that I think every basketball fan would want because of some decision-making on one individual's part.
Ooh.
Yeah. Take your pick.
Ooh, take your pick. I mean, listen. I like JJ. I think he's an excellent politician in terms of how he communicates. Yeah, he could be pointing at Luka there. Why not?
Of course.
When I read that, I went,
ooh.
Yeah,
you said
at the official, at the fan.
He can easily say, of course
John
I'm talking
Ireland.
about JT Orr.
But he didn't. And he doesn't care about getting fined.
No, of course not.
Lakers will pay
I
that
want to
fine.
read it again.
Okay.
I want to read it again because when I read it, I went, oh. It was a great game that unfortunately didn't get to finish the way that I think every basketball fan would have wanted because of some decision-making on one individual's part.
That sounds like coach speak for I'm talking to my player.
Yeah.
It sure does.
I mean, it should be. I wouldn't have had a
does.
problem with him saying something about it publicly either. At this stage
I
of the
wouldn't
game,
put his name on it.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I would not
That's
do it
the best way to
publicly
handle it.
because first of all, I don't know Luka Dončić well enough to know how he would respond to that. If I'm the coach and I think he would respond positively to it, then maybe I would.
See the Denver Nuggets.
But on the plane to Dallas last night or this morning when they're at Shooter or whatever it is, hey, grab a seat real quick. I want to talk about something. We got no shot without you.
Yeah.
We've got no shot without you. And the only way that we don't have a shot is with you in the locker room because of the constant whining. I'm not saying that you can't argue with officials because most of the guys in the league do it. But I think, again, we all know the difference between what Steph Curry does, what LeBron James does, and what Luka Dončić does. It's different.
I agree.
And it's whinier, for lack of a better word. And if you keep doing this, we're dead in the water. I'm not going to embarrass you publicly because that doesn't do anything, but I need you to think this through.
If this happens a week ago and you're not on the heels of the most emotional game your entire team is going to go through in Dallas tonight, I think he says something. I think he says more.
Yeah,
I really honestly
Forgot
do.
about that.
The timing of the situation, I think, affects how much this is addressed.
You know,
they got
yeah.
the biggest game of the season for them
him.
for them as a gelling unit, though. But you know what I'm
And
saying?
by the way, they need to win 2 of these last 3.
That's what I'm saying. They still kind of have to get it together. I think if this comes at a different point of the season, there's a different response from JJ publicly.
I would
For
hope.
sure.
I would hope that you don't have to go to him. I would hope that Luka would come to JJ and say, "I'm sorry. I'll be better at this."
Perhaps.
I would hope
That would be.
That's the greatest response you can get.
It would be.
Yeah.
That would be the ideal response. I don't. Emily brought up an interesting point too. Luka could be one of those guys that needs to play angry to play at his best. Those guys are few and far between, but there are guys that I need an enemy, real or imagined, that I need to rally against. And tonight it's going to be the referees or a fan or whoever it is. I need to get engaged. Those guys also typically are not super self-reflective in getting to what you
their
had.
nature,
right?
right.
In that, hey, first of all, it usually only comes with age and experience to realize that you're going to be right about half the time. The other half, I was wrong. I got that. I missed that. Given a chance to do it again, I would choose left instead of right.
Yeah.
I don't think Luka's at that point in his life.
Well, it depends on what came off that sideline. It's like, hey, Luka, you suck, bro. I'm cooking your guy.
No, but
shut your butt up, eat your popcorn,
Yeah, but you
and watch
just
me
said
play.
yourself, you can't let that
No,
happen.
but it's some. You can hear everything. You can't let it affect you. But sometimes you're going to be like, "What did you just say?"
LeBron pointed a guy out
Yeah.
because they were making reference to car crashes and life and death situations.
That's ridiculous.
If a guy is
Yeah.
screaming at you about your basketball game and you get all out of sorts to the point that you get
No,
tossed,
not all sorts. It's just like I just hit a shot. I
guys,
suck.
this was
I'm
not-
ahead. Right.
lost the psychological battle to a fan.
But I
is
want to go
what
back
happened.
to what you said at the beginning, DeMarco. This was not the first technical. This was not
Yeah.
a
The
double team.
second, I know.
This
Yeah.
was the second you get the first one, which you shouldn't have gotten because
Yeah.
you're arguing on behalf of another player. Let the coach do it. Let the other player do it. And if Jared Vanderbilt gets kicked out of the game, we still got a chance.
Fine.
We still got a chance. But now I've put myself in the box to where I have to eat whatever's coming next. And if the fan is chirping you to the point where you don't like it, you say, I need that guy
Well, here's
gone.
what I
And
don't
then
know.
move him out.
Right.
What did Lucas say back to the fan?
Who cares?
What difference does
Well,
it
I
make?
do. Look, what did the official hear? That said this is.
What
if he
does
said-
that
What if
matter?
he said, shut the blank up?
Or you're a POS.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, I mean, I don't think it
Okay,
matters.
then I think that would say that Luka let the crowd get to him. I don't think that was the case. I think he just shouted back at the guy and was keeping it pushing.
Yeah.
And the official was in the way and
He thought it was directed at him
and
when
threw
it
him
wasn't.
out and made a mistake there.
This-
so
we're all
yeah.
too old for this crap.
Yeah.
It's kind of where I feel also. It's like, dude, you
He
have
didn't
to
Westbrook him.
You
He
have to
didn't- yeah.
lock in this situation. If that's what locking in is, singling out a guy on the
No,
sideline.
he was backing up and.
I mean,
getting
more
back
largely.
on, yeah,
DeMarco.
I'm no,
You
just
know what I'm
backing up,
saying?
getting back on D. Just shut your butt up and watch the game, and then gets back into it, and the official throws him out. It could have been as quick as that.
I don't have time for that.
If the official was 3 yards away from the fan, none of this happens.
The mechanics of what happened in those couple of seconds
Aren't even the point to me.
They're not the point.
I don't
to me
think the
either.
fan distracted it. I just think he said something, and the official thought it was
I
to
agree,
him.
but
yeah,
it's the build up to that moment that is the problem. It is the lead up to, his constant conflict with referees, the constant having his hands out at the side, putting his hands through his hair.
You got to stop all that nonsense.
That all of that led up to the point where there was for lack of a better word, a misunderstanding on the sidelines that led to a stupid ejection.
You lost the benefit of the doubt by running your mouth, and you got thrown out. So whatever it was. But, I mean, I don't want to say that Luka needs to fire himself up to be a villain. I think that's just who he is. And I think, like he said, I'm not afraid to go back at the fans if they yell at me.
I don't care if he does.
But I don't think he didn't go to them aggressively.
No, but that's not why he got kicked out. The fan part of this was just the only reason the fan is involved in this conversation to me is because that's where the words were actually directed. That the referee misinterpreted the direction of it.
But
I don't think
he's a
Luka
basketball player, DeMarco. I'm not
don't
here
think so.
to be chalk talking what he talks about with fans mid-game. Like, that's the point here, is that if you're cutting off your production because you can't stay on the court, I don't care what the reason is.
He wasn't cutting off his production. Never mind. Okay.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Not
if
really,
one way
no.
or another you can't find a way to stay in games,
All he did was shout at a fan, which is what everybody does.
then figure it out.
That's what John Ireland said. You can't throw a star player out for talking to the fans.
Turns out you can, and you did. So that's my point.
But it was
At some point, you've got to reevaluate.
It was a mistake, but I wouldn't say that Luke. But never mind.
I mean, again, Draymond Green found himself thrown out of an NBA Finals game for a non-benefit of the doubt situation. He couldn't stay in the game.
Every sport has their version of this.
Yeah.
There are guys that on the mound don't get the benefit of the doubt. There are guys that get an extra baseball off the plate. There are hitters that you could split the plate in half, ball one. Because I'm just not calling strikes on this guy.
Human nature is a factor.
Football, a borderline play, it's a dirty play, it gets flagged. Why? Because I did a dirty play 2 weeks ago.
Totally.
And 2 weeks before that.
Vontaze
and
Perfect
I'm not
doesn't get
disagreeing
that
with any of
call.
that. I'm just all I was disagreeing was that you thought that Luka was unnerved by a fan. I'm like, that's not what
I
happened.
don't think that's what I think Luka likes.
Or Luka let a fan take him out of his game. That's
I'm
not
saying.
what happened.
No.
Okay,
Luka
but-
likes conflict. He
Right,
likes
but-
it. He thrives with it.
If that literally takes him out of the game, you don't need the proverbial taking you out of the game.
I don't
is
think
what I'm saying is like because the ref, like whether the ref was in the wrong or not, you just can't let that happen.
Well, that's the
as
other
a
thing,
professional.
Clinton. It seemed like that ref came in with an agenda. That's something else I need
What's
to.
the agenda? I mean,
He said, "I'm not talking. I'll talk to anybody but Luka."
that's a reasonable response.
So if you
to
walked
me.
on the floor with that personal baggage, you should never ref again.
But the question,
buying that,
the
but I hear
question,
or at least
I
for
have
the
is-
year.
I hear what you're saying, but why is he got it on for Luka? That
because he
matters
complains
too.
a lot.
Self-inflicted pain.
Right.
Yeah.
That had all of a sudden JT Orr come into this game and said, you know what? Anybody but you, Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
I'd be like, huh?
Anybody but
like
Rashid.
what? Huh? Anybody but you, Gabe Vincent.
Yeah.
Wait, what? What are we doing?
Anybody
here?
but you, Tim Duncan.
But
Yeah, would you say Tim Duncan got tossed for smiling in a game?
Joey
Smiling at a
Crawford.
guy.
Worst
I
things
know,
have
that's what I'm
happened
saying. It's
in the
personal.
NBA. Worst
Yes.
things have happened. The personal part is the fun part for me. But
it's a lot.